So I'm starting out this week by grilling some steak, as you can see here, and then I'm just pouring some olive oil into my already hot cast iron skillet and stirring it all around to evenly coat. Then I'm just going to put in a mixture of vegetables to saute. I have some broccoli here, some mushrooms, water chestnuts, and carrots, and some yellow zucchini. So I'm just letting this cook until it all comes down to a stir fry. And then I'm also going to be throwing in some baked potatoes and croissants out of the oven. Here you can see the freshly baked croissants. And then our meal of the night, of course, is some cut up steak, a fresh buttery croissant, a baked potato topped with some parsley and sour cream, and of course our sauteed vegetables with A1 steak sauce to go with. This is my daughter's plate. The next night I just picked up a rotisserie chicken from the store. Very simple, quick, but delicious dinner. And then I had some lima beans and peas mixture, as well as some cheesy rice to go with that. I also had a fresh loaf of bread that I picked up with the rotisserie chicken. So this was our meal of the night. It was super good, super tasty. What can go wrong with a rotisserie chicken? The next night we had breakfast for dinner, so I'm starting off by showing you the meal here, and then I'll show you guys how I cooked it all. Pretty self-explanatory, but I thought I'd still show you all. So I started off by frying an egg and some sausage links, as well as some ham. Then I like to put a little bit of water on my eggs and cover them so that they cook the way I would like them to. When those are nearly done, I started on some pancakes. I just added some blueberries in the mix. And then, like magic, as you see, we had a delicious breakfast for dinner. Never can go wrong with breakfast for dinner, or breakfast for breakfast. The next night, I'm just starting off by boiling some spaghetti noodles. Obviously, we're going to be having spaghetti, but not just average spaghetti. I'm making spaghetti with meatballs. In my meatball mixture, I like to put some Italian breadcrumbs, some fresh cut onion, our hamburger, of course, one egg, and then some seasoning. You can use whatever seasoning you like. I usually just use Italian, obviously, since we are having spaghetti this night. Then I decided to prepare my spaghetti sauce right in with all that flavor of the meatballs cooking. So I just put in some frozen tomatoes I had from the year before, and then heavily salted and peppered, as well as some parsley. And then I'm going to be adding in some Italian seasoning, since this is some classic meatballs and spaghetti after all. Then I just put on the cap so it could all simmer together, and here we have a brilliant sauce. Look at that bubble away. I think using fresh tomatoes or frozen really kind of makes the difference, and I also always like to add some sauce in too, just for a little added flavor. With that, I'm just stir frying some fresh Brussels sprouts. Honestly, I love Brussels sprouts. We've only had them twice in the past couple of months, but I've forgotten about them for a while, and they're a super good side. I love how they taste with spaghetti and anything Italian. So here is our dinner fully put together with a little bit of Parmesan sprinkled on top of our meatballs and spaghetti. And for my daughter, I just made her a little hamburger with some of the meat I had for the meatballs, and then I have some toasted ravioli with a little bit of our spaghetti sauce. She doesn't really care for spaghetti and meatballs too much, so this is why I made that. And then later that night, we actually had a little bit of some homemade bread for a snack. Super delicious. The next night, I just started by stir-frying some hash brown potatoes. And then I also decided to make some steak to go along with that. And then here was our finished meal of the night. With that, I just had some lima beans, and then earlier that day I had cut up a fresh pineapple, so we have a couple of slices of pineapple with a cut up apple, and then of course a nice glass of refreshing ice water. The next day I just started by cooking some chicken in my pan. This chicken was already pre-seasoned from the local meat market I picked it up at. I think it was ranch flavor. Always super good. And then I paired that with a fresh salad with some avocado and English cucumbers. And then this was our topping for the salad. We just used some feta cheese, some Greek peppers, and then some lemon and lime. Honestly, we didn't agree on a dressing that night, so we just made our own, and honestly, it was really good. The next night, I decided to make a bunch of wings that I had on the grill. So here I am just grilling those up real nice. Just enjoy the sizzle. And with that, I decided to try a new cheddar and broccoli rice mixture. I had never tried this brand before, but it turned out really good. It's definitely a lot less dry than like the classic Knorr mixes. So this was our meal. I paired it with some fresh corn as well as a can of peas. The next night, I decided on making a casserole, something new, so here I am just boiling some macaroni noodles and cooking some hamburger meat with some onion and seasoning, so that is cooking there. And then I added in some Bertolli organic tomato sauce. Let that sizzle a bit, and then I put in some frozen peas for our vegetable. And then I stirred it all around to incorporate it nicely. Next, just adding in our cooked and drained macaroni noodles to the mixture. Once this was incorporated well, I just added in some fresh mozzarella cheese.
You know, but it kind of reminds me of it.
I then just put on some parsley and let this all the flavors absorb for a little while. When it was done, it looks delicious. It was delicious, let me tell you. A super simple meal, and it's kind of like a twist on spaghetti, but more of a casserole, I guess you would call it. And then I just had it with some fresh apple and some toast as our side. Super good meal, guys. I think you should all try it. I would highly recommend it. The next night, I'm starting by just sauteing some frozen broccoli in my pan. And then right next to that, I have some shrimp, and I'm putting on top some fresh lemon, as well as some parsley, salt, and lots of pepper. I'm also going to be adding on some of our seafood seasoning, which is just the Old Bay seasoning. Everybody in my house really likes it, and I think it really makes the difference when you're cooking shrimp at home or anything of the such. And then I am also having some spaghetti noodles on the side, and I'm putting in some pesto sauce. So as you can see then, I made some pesto with shrimp, a side of a lemon wedge, and some fresh, delicious broccoli. And this was our last meal of the week. I think this was about a week here. I've been incorporating some meals throughout the last week and a half or so, so it might have been a little bit longer than a week. But this was our meals, and I hope you guys enjoyed them. I'm also showing you my picky eater meal of the night, which was some of our pesto, some of our broccoli, but then instead of shrimp, some bacon-wrapped water chestnuts.